Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
Do we have an attitude problem? Come on, dude. Come here. Come here. Gag me with a spoon. Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
Jake?
Yo.
Sasa.
This is what you want?
This is not what you want, probably, but this is what you get anyways. This is not what you asked for. This is what you got anyways.
Classic.
Not as catchy.
Disagree. Hi.
Hello.
You're probably wondering why.
You're probably
You're
wondering how you got here. This week.
Extra content warning for this one. Don't watch this movie ever. Don't probably even listen to this episode. There's no point. I am recording this against my better judgment.
He's like so. So I was like, oh, let's watch To Die For. And he was like, why don't we not watch that and instead watch Silent Fall? And I was like, okay, sure.
Because
and I'd seen it before, so I remembered.
You had?
Yes, I've told you this.
Oh my God.
I'd seen it before, so I was like, oh, right. I didn't
That's
remember much, but I remembered enough to know that it was going to be not great. And so I was like, okay, let's watch that. And then, like, halfway through the movie, he was like, we don't have to watch this. And I was like, no, it's fine. And it was over, and he was like, we don't have to make a podcast about this. And I was like, I've taken so many notes, so we have to.
We were setting up just now, and I said,
it's not too late to back out.
We don't have to do this.
Z, we don't have to. We don't have to do. We don't have to do this. I'm not
had some notes to let you all know about, so I guess that's what matters most.
Yeah, this movie is called Silent Fall. It's from 1994. You would think it was from like 1976 by
1800.
1800. That's exactly the year it sounds like it's from.
I said what I said.
It stars people. Has people in it.
We got Ricardo Dreyfuss.
I was like, who? Yeah.
We got Aerosmith's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Introducing her first role.
Introducing Aerosmith's daughter. We have a kid that was never in anything before or after this.
Yeah, weird that after this experience they never did anything else.
Linda Hamilton.
Barely and regrettably because.
And like, I mean, I agreed to watch it because John Lithgow is in it.
Again,
and I was like,
barely.
I did not remember John Lithgow in this movie at all.
Right. Because he's barely in it.
Yeah, he's barely in it. So, like, advertising that he's in this movie seems like a,
Yeah, we fell for it.
Right.
I was like Linda Hamilton and Lithgow. Fuck yeah,
exactly. I was like,
psych.
I'll sign me up. And, like, Linda Hamilton has, like, 4 lines in it. And they're all just like,
I'm a wife.
Mm-hmm. I'm a mother. Well, not really mother. But she acts like a mother, which is confusing.
God, Jake, what happened to you?
I pushed too hard. I pushed too hard with Billy.
Billy's suicide was a tragedy. But you didn't kill Billy. The truth didn't kill Billy.
I lost him.
You have to push. I think I can. Isn't that what you used to say?
It's not that simple, Karen. Okay?
Go on, then. You act like you died in the goddamn lake with Billy. Well, take the final step.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's directed by Bruce Beresford, who also directed Driving Miss Daisy. That's the only other thing I've heard of that they've directed. But I mean,
Like the only thing is I fully remembered the ending. And so it wasn't. But then watching it, I was like, were you supposed to think anything else happened? Because
he directed Double Jeopardy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Does it?
No. I mean, it does in the sense that Double Jeopardy is also not good.
Yeah. Also, a little film called A Good Man in Africa.
Ooh, what? Starring white people?
Of course. Sean Connery. John Lithgow again.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
God.
Oh, shit.
Anyway,
Keith's like, let's talk about other movies that we haven't seen.
please, let's talk about anything else.
I will say this movie's not good, but it's not good on multiple levers.
Pull
Whatever
all of
lever
them.
you pull, it's still not good.
Not a good film. It gets
not-
everything wrong about autism.
Correct.
Which I know it's
They
I,
say
maybe
the
not
word.
everything.
They
But,
say the word echolalia, and I think
completely misuse
here's
it, right?
here's the yes and no. Like the way that they say the whole thing in reference to echolalia is very confusing. Like Liv Tyler is talking about him, like the way Liv Tyler talks about him, like
The kid.
yeah, like what do you call it? Like act like when someone does something. I don't know. Like I don't know how.
His behavior.
Yeah, but like how he echolalias. I don't know. Like when he's
Mimics?
doing echolalia.
Uh-huh.
When she talks about it, she says like he loses it during TV. And what she means, I think, is that he like she says something about him like doing it like she's the way she talks about him watching TV, it sounds like she's saying like she says like he goes nuts when he's watching TV or something. And I think what she means is he does it a lot while he's watching TV. But it sounds like she's saying he has a fit.
Mm.
And because the way that she phrased it, and Richard Dreyfuss says it's called echolalia, and then he has him like repeat something or whatever, and then really poorly. But like, the way she says it, it sounds like he's saying when he gets upset, it's called echolalia.
I see. Yeah.
But I mean, but again, like it got like something sort of right. Like yes, echolalia is like mimicking something, but I don't think like the ability to mimic
We're gonna have to
what?
back up a little bit.
Okay.
Pretty soon.
Well, no, I was just saying echolalia.
Why it's relevant, you know?
Well, yeah. I was just saying like the echolalia is a number of things. It's not like perfectly replicating a sound.
Yeah.
Like that's not the meaning of echolalia. Anyway.
Hang on.
So the movie's about like
There's been a murder.
yeah, like there's a fucking murder. Like two parents are murdered and like their kids are Liv Tyler and her like 8-year-old autistic brother or something. I don't know, maybe he's like 9 or 10. I don't know. He's like he's young and he's autistic. And like Liv Tyler has like a head injury or something. And like she was like hit in the head or something.
Remember they find her tied up in the closet?
No, she's not tied up. She's just like out of it and like bloody in the closet. And then But okay, so it starts with Richard Dreyfuss getting called to this murder scene. There's been a murder. And he gets there and he goes upstairs and he looks at like the crime scene and he's like, "Deuces, I don't give a shit about
Not
people."
interested.
Yeah. And he walks out, and on his way out, the same way he came in, he like leaves the same way he came in. He passes the son having a fucking meltdown. And he's like,
Covered
"Oh,
in blood and
covered in blood,
holding
holding
a
a
knife.
knife, trying to like stab at the police," which does, and he's just like, "Oh, that's interesting." And I'm like, "How did you not see that when you came in?" Like,
What's also, he gets called in by J.T. Walsh, who's his buddy on the force or whatever.
yeah,
And I don't think it's been established yet, like, why he would be called in. But that's what they do. They take him in to show him the victims,
right.
the murder scene. And he was like, "Oh, by the way, this is why we called you. Here's this kid who's nonverbal, and we're trying to get a knife from him. And presumably,
Right.
it's been that way since the police arrived. Why was the scene of the crime the first stop?
Why was it the first
When
stop?
this is why you were called.
Yeah,
also.
why was that the first stop when he's not like he has no forensics background whatsoever. He's not a crime scene investigator. He's a bad psychiatrist or therapist or whatever the fuck he is. And so he's helping this. So he sees the kid losing his shit, right? The kid is like bloody and is holding a bloody knife and is having a meltdown. And so Richard Dreyfuss starts yelling at him and clapping and shit and being like, "Hey, hey, hey." And I'm like, that is not.
At the kid?
Yes.
You mean?
Yes, he starts like yelling
Well, first
at
of all,
him.
he says
And,
to
like,
the cop,
yeah.
it's not going to work. He's
Yeah.
autistic.
Right, exactly. Like
just-
him trying to gently get the knife away is not going to work because the kid's autistic. So he starts fucking yelling at the kid and like saying like incoherent things and is like legitimately yelling. And I'm like, "Hey, you know what not to do if someone's having a meltdown? That's like 101. Don't do that." Like, like, and the kid's
My
like,
favorite is when he's like, somewhere in the house you're going to find a large amount of playing cards.
no, he's like, he
Or
says
whatever.
a deck of cards. He's like, somewhere in the house you'll find a drawer with a deck of cards in it or something.
Well, I
And
think
they,
he implies that there's going to be more than one.
does he? Because it seems like he just knows there's going to be a deck of cards. And then they open a cupboard and there's like 20 decks of cards. But he explains later. He says, oh God, I have to. Oh, yeah. He says, many autistics love cards. And he says, And then he says it's because they're, like, numbered. And, like, it's because, like, autistic folks like numbers. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and they're in sequence. And I'm like, no deck of cards is in sequence.
Oh, when you first buy them.
Really? They are? Okay. But, I mean, like, you don't... Also,
Steve, John, him, Jim.
his like relationship to the cards is like
What is it?
not like
just
he
puts them
cuts
on-
them up
Oh, that's right. He cuts out the...
and he like
Oh, God.
takes them out of order, so like them being in sequence like doesn't have anything to do, like cards aren't like here's the thing. I don't think of a deck of cards and think sequenced numbers.
Well, it's 'cause
Because
you're clearly not an autistic. Clearly.
but like it's oh God. Oh my God. Also like and that's how he like he like grabs a deck of cards and like trades the kid a deck of cards for the knife.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nothing calms someone that's upset down like loud noises and and that's the thing. It's like it's so wild the way that I mean, this movie literally. I know it was the '90s, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I get that the '90s was like the autism was like getting like popular to like talk about and like
explored in popular culture.
Yeah, and like it and like
Life Goes On, for instance.
And
just kidding. That's
I know
that character has Down syndrome, I think.
Yeah, but he actually does.
Right.
You know, so it's not really like it's fine. And anyway, like so like I kind of get like the 90s.
I mean, yeah, it kind of was like
right.
It like replaces multiple personalities.
Right.
As far
yeah,
as
yeah, sort of. I mean, like both of them are kind of
they
like
coexist.
Yeah.
It doesn't really replace it, but they occupy a similar space in movies and TV.
Yeah. But I feel like with like multiple personality was like it was getting like I don't know. It was like morphing into something else. And like autism was kind of like characters were getting written with autism, you know.
Right.
As opposed to like someone like offhandedly being like, is that kid autistic or something? Or like, oh, I hope he doesn't have the autism or something, you know, like some offhanded remark. Like they were actually like writing and like exploring the idea of autism, but they were doing it from like from the perspective of people who do who not only don't have autism, but actually don't know what the fuck autism is. Plus, like, I really feel like in the 90s, there was a lot of shit out there that was, like, really, 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 really fucking wrong about autism.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was...
You're talking about as far as, like, the medical discourse.
Yes, but I feel like... And I was thinking, and I was like, God, I wonder if... Because there was so much misinformation out there. And, like, the one thing that Richard Dreyfuss says where he's like, okay, what is autism? And then Liv Tyler gives, like, an explanation. And he's like, no, we don't actually know what autism is. And I was like, that's, like, honestly the only thing that makes any sense. That's, like...
Except he goes too hard. He's like...
Oh, yeah,
But
then he's like, you know what I think autism is? I think it's being afraid. And I'm like, oh my God.
Afraid of being in the world or
whatever.
I'm
like, what? And then he's like, because he's different, he has so much fear that it makes him act this way. And I'm like, so because he's autistic, he's afraid, and that's why he has autism. Wait, what? Like, like what? I have no idea. Okay. But yeah, like I was just gonna say, I wonder how many people were doing anything correctly in the 90s with autism.
I'm sure treatment was not
because
much
like
different than how it's depicted.
Yeah, ABA was like, you know,
that?
it's like behavioral. It's like basically where they try to like, I can't remember the actual. I see it all the time, and I never can. I'm so bad at remembering names of things.
It's like where they correct your
yes,
behavior,
correct.
Right?
It's like autistic behavioral something. Or maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, it's like that's like been the treatment for I mean it still is in some like in a lot of places like
yeah, well I mean fucking conversion therapy still exists. So.
Right, exactly. So like I was thinking about it and I'm like, God, I wonder like in 1994, I wonder if like, I mean, I don't think people actually would have watched this movie and been like, yep, accurate autism.
Right.
In any capacity. But I'm like, yeah, I wonder how many people actually acted this way. Even though it was only like 30 years ago, barely, but well, not really barely. Almost exactly. I'm like, man, like it's treated so fucking weird. Like anyway, but after he's like trying to convince after the guy found or after he traded the deck of cards for a knife. What?
applied behavior analysis.
Oh, yeah. What? Also, it's like applied behavior analysis. It sounds so like chill. You're like, oh, it's just like, and it's just like, oh yeah, we will punish you if you stim. Like, come on.
Right? Isn't
not
it basically the same? It's like basically the same as like getting hit with a ruler for being left-handed, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much
Same kind of shit.
Yeah. And it's like it's really fucking and like the fact
Why
that
not try electroshock therapy?
it's probably involved. Yeah, it's really confusing to me why anyone would do that. And like people will like argue for it and be like, it's important that autistic people like know how to manage in the real world, and you're like, okay, but
Good luck.
they are in the real world, you ass.
Yeah, right.
Like fucking what are you talking about?
Also, how about the real world?
Exactly. Like,
Makes some minor accommodations.
like, yeah, it's wild because like, I mean, like from what you'll be surprised to know that I've read a lot about autism and what you like what a person who maybe has undiagnosed adult autism experiences. You'll be surprised to know a lot of those things coincide with my experience.
Hold up.
But I forgot what I was saying about. Oh, I've read a lot about autism, and like it's a lot of. I mean, like the general consensus is, and like it's just the way you process things is not neurotypical. So it's a little bit
fear.
Right.
That's what I hear.
You're afraid.
Terror.
Yeah,
Of
it's
processing things like other folks.
And it's like basically it's just like it's a processing. So imagine like you know, yeah, it's just like it's like someone having musical talent or someone not having musical talent. Like that's just the way your brain processes things, right? Like that's not any different. Like I don't know. It's just like I can't imagine like, and I understand like people want to like. I mean, I don't know. The cure, like they're needing to be a
It's
cure.
only
for
recently
autism
even
or
that
shit like
Asperger's is a term that is no longer used,
correct,
right?
correct.
Or
I
it's
think
been
in the
folded
past,
into the.
well, so Asperger's is like, well, it's. I'm a little confused about this one because like people who have been in the past diagnosed with Asperger's still use the term a lot of times, or sometimes people do get diagnosed. It's no longer in the DSM. I think as of like 2013 or something, it's no longer in the DSM. And basically autism, because there was like autism and then there was Asperger's, which was like a milder form or whatever, something stupid. And basically, so, I mean, there's a lot of debate within the autistic community about this stuff. So, like, I'm not going to speak on any of it, or like give any opinion. I'm just going to say like what information that I've gathered. So the as far as I know from things that I've researched is the DSM changed in 2013, to like it changed the criteria, I think, and instead of like I think it was like mainly a disorder that was like associated with men and children especially. So
You're talking about autism?
yes, autism in general, autism and Asperger's, they were pretty much associated with men. So it's strange enough since 2013 when they changed the DSM and they changed the phrasing to no longer have like autism. I don't know what it was before, but now it's autism spectrum disorder.
Right.
And the criteria for it are like you watched that video where it was like the criteria for so since that changed, strangely enough, a lot of women and non-men and adults have
Adult babies
have been getting diagnosed with autism. Oh no!
Assigned babies at birth. who have transitioned to being adults.
I hate you so.
ABAB.
I think we have to get divorced. Ooh, so I guess we better get married so we can do that.
It's not legal in our state.
Divorce, you mean?
Marriage of any kind.
Anyway, yeah. So that's just an aside about how autism. But that's like within the last like 10 years, the criteria has changed drastically enough to allow for
to include
right,
AFAB people.
Right. And it's not that AFAB people like were not ever diagnosed as autistic or anything like that, but a lot of them were just but it's and it's one of those things where like it's
well, and it often gets one will get diagnosed with ADHD first, right?
Right. Sometimes
Especially
people have
if
both.
you're AFAB?
Yeah. Yes. Well, no, because here's the thing: AFAB people get misdiagnosed, like
just period.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes, correct. And it's one of those things where it's like it's the same shit. Like people of color, like also don't get diagnosed. Stuff like that. Like like autism and ADHD are underdiagnosed in Black communities.
Weird.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I think the term is, I don't think it's that they're misdiagnosed. I think it's just that they're not diagnosed at all.
Right.
Like with anything. So it's
underdiagnosed?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you said un.
Oh, no, under. I might have whatever. Anyway. So, yeah. Anyway. It's one of those things though where like I don't know, like there's so many things that are written about autism, but a lot of times it's from like
outsider
non-autistic folks, or like it's from like doctor perspectives, or it's from like people like doing research on it that don't have autism. So it's like and then like there's a lot of debate within the autistic community about like terms and what's okay to use and what's not okay to use. And so it's like, it can get really overwhelming to like I don't have an opinion on anything. I'm like, I don't know. Cause I'm like, I don't know what's right. I've read some stuff, but it wasn't by autistic people. And also autistic people, some want to use this term and some want to use that term. And people will be like, what should I? And I'm like, don't ask me. Don't ask me shit. Here's what I've looked up. You go on a Google search of your own.
Right. And this movie does all of them wrong. Pretty much.
What do you know about autism?
Autism is a pervasive developmental disorder, usually from birth. A perceptual cocoon forms around the child, trapping him in his own private world.
That's very good. Nobody knows what autism is. Nobody. 2,000 years ago, autistics were worshipped as gods. And 300 years ago, they were burned at the stake as witches.
Oh, but what I was going to say, after he like wrangles the knife away from the kid with a deck of cards, he's talking to like the chief of police. I don't know, whatever.
J.T. Walsh?
Yeah, he's talking to J.T. Walsh, and he's like, J.T. Walsh wants Richard Dreyfuss on the case.
Because the kid is nonverbal.
The kid is autistic, and he's nonverbal.
And the only witness.
Yeah, seemingly the only witness.
Tyler,
except for Liv Tyler, who walked in and supposedly got hit in the head. Surprise, she's the killer. I know. And they're even like no one else was in the house except for the two of them and like all the shit. And I'm like, there's no surprise that it was her. But the thing is, I think they keep
we forget to mention that also incest is involved in this film?
Yeah.
And by incest, I mean pedophilia.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
well, pedophilic incest.
Yeah. Thank you. Pedophilic.
Anyway.
So if you have listened this far and haven't been given enough warnings.
Sorry. But anyway, JT Walsh is like, Walsh? Whatever. That's who was.
JT waltzes in there.
So he's like trying to get Richard Dreyfuss to like help the kid because the kid's nonverbal, and he's like, "You're the only one that can help the kid do whatever." But he says, "Look, I've seen Rain Man."
Yeah.
And then you and I had, basically, we lost our shit. We like, I think I like almost.
I've
fell
never
off
seen Rain Man, so
I have. It's.
maybe we should watch that next.
I mean, I don't remember that. I think it's like based on like a real person,
Yeah,
you know.
I think so.
So it's not, and like he was like there, like
Yeah, like
you know, and
consulting on the film
Dustin
and stuff.
Hoffman, I think, like, and this is like a thing where I'm not saying Rain Man's a good movie or some shit. I'm not saying it's fine, but Dustin Hoffman spent like a year, like
wow.
around, I think, or maybe it's like a month. I don't know. It's like one something around people who,
About 100 months.
people who
See what I
were
did there?
no.
That's a thing in the movie. Hey, Raymond, how much does a car cost? About $100.
Oh.
Hey, Raymond, how much does a candy bar cost? About $100.
Oh, okay.
He has no concept.
Right? Oh my god.
Don't ask me how much those things cost right now either. I don't fucking know.
Too much is how much they cost.
Exactly.
Both for cars and candy bars.
Yes.
Anyway.
And don't even get me started on sealing stem bolts.
Oh, also after the murder, like they go to, like live time.
I mean, at least sorry.
No, you're fine.
Also, Rain Man obviously had a huge impact on the perception of autism.
Right, correct.
So that's one of those things. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a lot to probably, if you were someone working in the field, you probably had to work against a lot of
Yeah.
misconceptions.
Oh yeah. But like I think there's a lot of like, but some of the ideas of autism were like so fucked up. Like they can't feel pain or they can't like experience
Basically
emotion.
medieval, right? You know,
Yeah,
like, you should probably,
yeah.
Have you tried trepanning?
Right.
Put some leeches on them.
Right. And it's like it's really fucked up shit. And like autistic, like people who have autism.
The blood has been haunted by a loose spirit.
Loose spirit.
Yeah. Like Xenon or whatever, the guy from Scientology. He dropped all those beings into the volcano, and now all their thetans are floating around and attaching to human beings, and that's why we can't. That's why we get stuck on things.
Scientology.
Check it and see.
So I don't remember what I say.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I was just talking about how bad people's like. Oh, I was gonna say like autistic folks can have like different, like their range of emotion can be different. Like you know what I mean? Like they'll like express emotion like differently, but like amongst autistic people, like no like there's a saying, if you've met one autistic person, then you've met one autistic person, meaning.
I like it.
No, like you can't base what autism is on one singular autistic person. Like people have different traits, and some is like connected to their autism. Some is just how their personality is, and you cannot like, and like a lot of it is like combined. Like your personality develops because of how you process things, etc. Like so it's one of those things where, so like someone could have met someone who was autistic who didn't really have pain, like the same pain receptors, but that might not have been connected to their autism at all. They might have had like nerve damage, like or anything, and
you don't respond to pain
correct, right,
immediately or verbally,
right.
So
and like it's a thing where like yes, you can have like dulled senses, absolutely, but that's not something that only happens with autism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not fair to be like, well, if you're autistic, then you don't experience pain. Like, okay, cool. No, whatever. Anyway, I have opinions.
What?
I said I wasn't going to have any, but I do.
I said I wasn't going to do this.
But after they like take and like, there's really nothing to this movie that's kind of wild. Like it's all just about this kid. Like, and really all they really needed to do was just like check for like any kind of forensic evidence, and then they probably would have been
Right.
able to solve the
Right?
crime. I don't know, but they're like the
Well,
autistic kid saw the whole thing, and he knows somewhere,
Well, and this
somewhere
is-
in his mind.
This is also very similar to the plot of another film, right? That we haven't watched, the Bruce Willis one.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that one's like.
I think it's, or like, it's a similar thing where
Oh,
the
yeah.
autistic kid holds the key to.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh God, yeah. And like, being I was going to say savantism, but I don't even know if that's a word. Like the idea that if you're autistic, then you're a savant is also a stereotype that's not like.
Yeah, that's part of the
accurate.
Rain Man business.
Right. Like, oh, if you're autistic, you must be really good at one singular thing. Like,
Right.
okay, what? Play music. Like, and of course, like that exists. Like, but again, it's that thing of like, that's just some people excel at things and other people don't. It's like, whatever. Anyway.
Psychopaths, for example, are really good at politics.
Oh yeah, but okay, so
And serial myrtle. Myrtle. Damn it. Damn you, tongue. Murder. Serial murder. No, I'm not going to let that happen again.
I'm not gonna let that happen again. As if you have a choice in the matter. What? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
What?
I don't know. I was trying to mimic you.
Echolalia, folks.
Anyway, God, I've been trying to say this. So after the murder, Liv Tyler and her brother
Muck
get
duck.
sent after the mug duck. Liv Tyler and her brother get sent to like someone's house who immediately, I mean, like they should
that's
not have been
right.
sent there because this woman immediately is pissed that this kid has any sort of like stims or anything like that. Like she's just like mad because he doesn't want to eat peas.
Right.
And so Liv Tyler like takes the peas off his plate because he's like really upset at seeing them or whatever. And so like this woman's other kids take the peas off their plate and like put them on his. So he has a meltdown,
Weird.
which would be fine, but like it's the most dramatic. Like he like flips a table, I think. Like he like
Right.
I don't know, like the table somehow disappears, I think. Like he rips the like he like
Tablecloth off or
yeah,
something?
like the tablecloth
dishes go
off,
flying, I
the
remember that.
dishes go flying. They go flying into the wall. They like break like
In slow motion. I'm
yeah,
sure.
and they like break all the like pictures on the wall. It's like all this stuff, and he's just like screaming. And Liv Tyler's like, "Oh no, oh come here, child," and like, and the mother is just like losing her shit because this kid is, but she's like immediately like put out. Like she
Yeah.
like sets the plate down, and he's like upset because he doesn't like peas, and she's like, and I'm like, okay, they've been here for 45 minutes. Like
No one should
maybe-
stay with this person. period.
Exactly. Like maybe her own children should not be
Right.
there. Like it was not good. So
But
anyway,
the solution,
right. So then they are like, okay, well, we're just gonna go back home. So they go home to
to
stay
the crime scene,
where there is a crime scene that has not been cleaned.
and they literally. My favorite part is they literally crossed the police tape.
Yes, they cross the police tape to get inside of the house so they can stay there. No, doesn't make any sense. And then they, like, neither one of them can sleep. So what they do is they go into their parents' room where the bloody body and tape outlines of the body are. And they just, like, lay on top of the outlined blood body and go to sleep together.
Well, he does.
Yeah, but she lays next to him and then they go to sleep or whatever. What? Also like it's also like a biohazard. Like to
There's
have
just-
blood there.
There's just so many things.
Right. And like so like, and like you can get like, I don't know, there's all kinds of shit that can go wrong. So like,
You can get crickets, you can get Pringles, you can get
crinkum crankums.
crankums, shenanigans, shillelaghs, half nooses, half Nelsons, Quasimodos.
Bananas.
No, don't be ridiculous.
Aww.
They'll be ridiculous.
Don't be ridiculous. Anyway, so like they have like literally like people whose job is like to clean up crime scenes.
Yeah, they're
so,
called
like,
cleaners.
But I mean like
Have you seen
specifically
Little Miss Sunshine?
So yeah.
Little Miss.
Can't be wrong. Can't do wrong. Can't be wrong. Okay.
And if you want to give me flowers.
Oh, also the fact that like, okay, so Richard Dreyfuss is like this renowned therapist, psychologist.
Exactly. Exactly right.
He
and
has patients that he's
the-
currently seeing, but he fucking like his specialty was like autistic kids.
There's a great montage of Liv Tyler researching him.
Oh yeah.
At the library by going through microfilm or microfiche on
Yeah.
there and finding out that he had a little
and
treatment center.
Yeah, he had a treatment center.
But then a kid
And
died.
the kid died by
But
drowning.
That line is like suicide from drowning.
Right.
Like, when does that happen?
Right. It's like an 11-year-old autistic kid died on his watch. And they're just like, oh, you should work with autistic kids. I'm like, how does he still have a license? How is he still a practicing? Like, a kid died at your facility that you ran, I think, out of his house.
Right. Because remember, the thing is, like, he has this whole building that has been closed down once his treatment center, he gave it up, that they reopen for the kid to hang out with him.
I thought that was just like a room in his house.
No, it's
Oh my
because they make a
God.
thing about, like, I haven't been in there since.
Oh my God. It's so, I'm like, who's also like him as a therapist is bad. Like they show like him talking to like one of his patients and it's just like her just like, it seems like very like mocking. Like it's like, like a fat woman who's talking about how like
she wants to eat.
No, she's talking about how she's like divorcing her husband or something, and she's like, I want to start dating and I want to get laid and all this shit, and he's just like, ugh, and he's like not even listening to her because you know her, like.
And then we get that scene later where she drives up with that. He's like, you don't have an appointment.
Yeah,
He's
and
like, I
she's
need to
like,
talk to you.
my husband wants a divorce. Oh
Right.
no, I can't live without him. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, is that your only patient? Is that how you're making a living? Is this one sad woman who you won't even fucking listen to, who has every right to want to get laid? And she's just like, I'm a desirable woman. And she's like, you know, like stretching her leg out on the couch or whatever. And I'm like, is this?
It seems like it's supposed to be a joke.
Like she's like really like, a fat woman, desirable. Yeah. Yeah.
LOL.
Imagine that. Fucking what? Like, and the idea of like a fat woman like finding themselves desirable is what's like the
Especially-
joke.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like,
Clearly delusional.
right. You're like, oh my God. And it's just like, wow. Yeah. And then she's like asking him questions and he's just like not listening to her. And I'm like, you suck.
Yeah.
You're a shitty
It's like the end of
therapist.
fucking Throw Mama. Like, why is it suddenly just
Exactly,
like
right.
a barrage of fat jokes? Like, this doesn't have to be in the movie.
Yeah. Fat jokes to me are like, I mean, obviously they're not funny, but like them being in something is like, to me, it's like, oh, you literally don't know how to be funny, so you're putting something in that you think is supposed to be. You literally have no idea what humor is. You're like, I know, we'll just put in a fat joke and people will have to laugh.
Yep.
And it's like that. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's just biological.
Right.
Our response
It's-
to...
People can't help but laugh. Oh, what's that in Bob's Burgers? The Insatiate.
Releases our hormones.
It's insatiate. Anyway, you'd have to see Bob's Burgers to get that one. Let's see. What other notes
The
do I
Prince
have?
of Persuasion. How far are we in your notes?
Oh, God. I'm one page. I
Out
don't
of-
think I have a ton. Oh.
Oh, remember this, though? You clocked this. When he entered...
He goes to a bar to meet
Yes.
JT Walsh. And in the background, you hear someone say, Darlene, your mother called. At a really busy bar playing some honky tonk music. It's like, Darlene, your mother called.
Hey, Darlene, your mother called. I totally missed it the first time when we went back. And it's very
It
clear.
is very
Somehow,
clear.
It's not super loud.
No, but
it's very clear,
because
which
I was
is
like,
impressive.
I have to have misheard this. There is no way that I heard that. And you went back, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna be something completely different, and I'm gonna feel like a stupid idiot. And it was that, and you were like, what the fuck?
I love that shit.
Oh God, that's right. Remember, he makes a fruit salad. That's the most disgusting scene in the whole movie. He's just cutting up fruit and putting it in a bowl, but then at the end, he's like does that with his hands, like he's got flour, like what you do when you're making a fucking pie. But then he
Is that what you do when you make a pie?
Well, when you have like flour on your hands, you do like that to get, you don't, like if you have fruit on your hands, you don't
Fruit
rub them
juice,
together.
sticky
Like
ass.
what the oh my God. Like it's just nonsensical. But also again with the fucking loud noises, like you
Right.
you need to not maybe do that around some autistic folks. What do I know? So he cuts up fruit, and it's like melon and grapes, maybe some strawberries. Then he opens the fridge, gets out whipped cream, and pours whipped cream all over the top of it, which doesn't make any sense to me.
And by pour, it's ready whip, so he sprays it, okay? I just wanted people to get the... It's not Cool Whip in a bucket.
Fuck you. No, but it doesn't make any sense because you should do that in the bowl it goes in, because then when you
Isn't that what he does?
No, not like, okay, he makes it all into a
you're
big
saying-
giant bowl, and then he puts the Ready Whip on top of the big giant bowl. That means that when you dip it out
I see.
to feed, you're just gonna get like it's gonna be weird and gross.
Diabetes.
And it's just gross, and it disgusted me. But while he leaves the fridge open, and the kid closes the fridge door.
Oh, God, that's
so
right.
then he opens up every single cupboard, and
The kid closes
and the
all
kid
of them.
closes them. And he
we
just feels
learn-
like he made a breakthrough,
Yep.
and I'm like, no, that's fucking annoying. I mean, I think, I was gonna say something I would do, and I'm like, oh right, oops.
Classic. I mean, something I like to do is just leave open drawers and cupboard doors so that
It's
you
true.
can't help but...
Close them, yeah.
Just kidding.
So, oh yeah, he says, oh
but
God.
yeah, that has no...
Yeah, it
What?
doesn't do anything.
does-
It doesn't reveal anything.
No.
It doesn't lead to anything. It's just like something he does. And I'm like, the way to like make an autistic person trust you is not to aggravate them.
Right, like trigger their...
Yeah, like
Whatevers.
I need to fix this
Whatevers.
because they're
Sorry.
whatever.
Sorry.
That's the technical term, Keith.
Oy.
So you're right. No, but I mean, yeah, like if you have like a compulsion to do
Yeah.
something, it's not always a great feeling.
Oh, you like
know?
cards? I'm just throwing cards all over the house.
Like, oh,
We're
God.
communicating.
Oh, and also, oh man, there's just so much. This movie got nothing right when he talks about
That's what I'm
like
saying.
he was the therapist to the kid's mother.
Oh, right.
And the cop finds out, and he's like, he's like, why didn't you say something? And he was like, because therapy is confidential even after a person is dead. And I'm like, I don't think that's true, for one. Also, he wasn't asking like what you talked about.
At that point, he's just asking,
He's
why
like
didn't you
saying,
tell
"Why
me
didn't you
that
tell
she
me
was
that
one of
you
your
knew
clients?
who the person was?" And he's just like, "That's not professional. That's an unprofessional thing for me to even try to do." What are you talking about?
Well, this is also one of those things where it's really unclear what his relationship to the case is.
Well,
Has
yeah.
he been officially employed, or like, is he a consultant?
Yeah.
There has to be guidelines for what is good, okay and legal, and
But then I think it's because, like, then the cop, if he finds out the cop was having an affair with the wife too.
yep.
And oh my God.
Again, no bearing on anything. I guess it's supposed to make us think that he's the murderer, the killer.
I guess. I don't even know.
Make us.
Because that's the thing, though. Like, they're trying the whole time to, like, make you think that the kid could have possibly done it because he has, like, superhuman autism strength.
Yes.
And shit.
And also because when we first encounter him, he's
Yeah,
covered
he's
in
got
blood
it.
and
Yes.
holding a bloody knife.
And, like, there's this whole scene with, like, Lithgow. Dear Lithgow, please give me an explanation why you agreed to this movie.
You got to work,
But this was, like, the same year as Cliffhanger, so no excuses, man.
Oh man, great performance. Great accent.
So he, like, hypnotizes the kid, and then, like, he, like, locks the kid in a room, hypnotizes the kid. Then he tells him he's trapped and he's, like, can't get out of something, and he's like, you better, like, get out, and, like, but the door's locked, and he's like it's coming, you have to get out. And so the kid, like, rips the door off its fucking hinges, and, like, and then they like wake the kid up, and he's like, oh, everything's fine. And they're like, see, he's so strong, he could have done it. And I'm like, what? And then, like, the part that I did enjoy, so Lithgow plays, like, the other, like therapist who, like, deals with autistic kids, who's, like, all about drugs and shit.
Right.
And they, like, do a really weird job of, like vilifying any sort
Yes.
of use of, like, drugs, which, I mean, I'm not saying drugging kids
Right.
is cool or something, or, like, make it, like,
It's
doing
totally
that
fine.
to make a kid
No one's ever
compli-
abused
right,
that
yeah,
power.
exactly. And, like, especially, like, when in getting someone to comply, like, drugging them is
Right.
also, like, I'm not defending that, but, like, it's, like, also, like, after you've seen your parents murdered, you might need to be medicated in general. Just, you might need to.
Yeah, my favorite thing is how, I mean, they do say abuse victims are the best actors. Otherwise, there's no reference to, like, trauma ever.
Right.
It's just
well,
autism.
I don't know. Right. Well, they do say, like, after the murder, like, Liv Tyler gets, like, prescribed something.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, which is what she uses to drug Richard Dreyfuss.
That's right. It's like a sedative, right? It's like
Right,
a
it's
sleeping
just
pill
like
or
it's
something.
like fentanyl or something.
Oh, yeah, fentanyl.
I'm like, okay, and she's like, oh, if it's mixed with alcohol, it causes paralysis. He takes, like, a sniff of wine, and he's paralyzed for fucking half an hour.
Oh, that's right. She's puts him on the ice.
Yeah,
To make it look like
he chased her onto the ice and then fell through. What? Yeah. So anyway, Liv Tyler's.
Is this after she tries to seduce him or whatever?
Mm-hmm. I will say this. The big revelation at the end when he's like, the reason why, like, you killed your parents and the reason why is because your dad was, like, abusing you or whatever. And then they, like, talk about, like, things that abuse victims do and things that, like, and she talks about, like, like, from her perspective, like, what it feels like to have gone through that. That was a big revelation for me as a kid.
Ah.
And I was like, oh, these things are symptoms. Oh. And it was like,
What'd she say? I don't
because he
remember.
says, like, being, like, obsessed with your appearance and, like, exercising and, like,
right.
doing all of these things and, like, and, like, of course, again, he's generalizing. This isn't something where, like, everybody reacts the same way. But, like,
oh, right, because it's implied that it happened to her as well.
Yeah,
When she was
And
younger.
and then she starts talking about how like this is how it felt and this is what and I was like, oh, that's a universal feeling. And it was like a very big sort of like, and it's wild because like watching it, I'm like, it's the most generalized, stereotypical bullshit. But as a kid, I was like, oh, this is all these things that I do and feel are because I was abused. Oh, and it was like really, and I was like maybe, I don't know, like a teenager maybe when I saw it. Maybe like right before it really started me thinking about stuff. So I will say this movie was formative for me in that way. It made me realize that trauma has an effect on you that lasts.
Right.
And I was like, oh, when you get abused, you respond to that by being
It
different.
changes your
Yeah, it was
behavior
like,
and your thinking
huh,
and the way your brain works.
and that was like the start of me like actually like kind of acknowledging that I had any sort of like abuse, as a kid. So I'm not gonna say this movie's all bad. Just kidding, it's all bad.
Just if you're a teenager and you think you've been abused, maybe watch this movie. It'll really help you connect some dots.
Right. Did you say make some dots?
Connect.
Oh, okay.
I think. That's what I meant to say.
Although she has like a floor length, long sleeved velvet dress.
Velvet?
Yes.
That thing that I was like, ick.
Yeah. Ugh, love it.
See, because I imagine it was just like rayon.
No, it was like velvet. Ugh, gorgeous.
Anyway, I still think it's hideous looking.
That's fine. But like at the end, the kid.
Oh shit! Remember the song? I mean, we'll get to it later.
Yeah. Oh, thank you though. At the end, like the kid mimics Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh boy!
And again, he's like, "No, we talked about this. Use your own voice." And I'm like,
yeah, we didn't really talk about.
Yeah,
the actual depiction of echolalia, where
he's. I don't even understand. This is why I kind of didn't, because I'm like, I don't even know how to describe this.
Well,
I mean,
the whole thing is he doesn't use his own voice. First of all, he's nonverbal when we first encounter him, and then the only time
his
does
own voice.
Yeah, right. The only time this is when the echolalia comes into play.
Right.
Dreyfuss figures out, he starts saying catchphrases from like Woody Woodpecker or common jingles or whatever, and then the kid starts saying jingles and stuff back. But like not just imitating them. It's clearly, from a technical point of view, the movie is taking the audio, the actual audio.
Yeah.
Or like other people's voices.
Right. Yeah. Like the kid.
Okay, so it comes into play that he replays, if you will, the audio from the night of the murder.
Oh, yeah.
And Liv Tyler's present.
Right, when it happens.
And she's saying, "Oh, that's my dad. That voice is my mom. That voice is me."
Yeah.
And so we only have this little snapshot. But then it gets to, the big reveal happens when Dreyfuss is confronting Liv Tyler about her role and everything. Mm-hmm. But constantly re-triggering the kid to say the same things over and over again.
Oh my God.
As if he's a machine.
Right.
Which you can do that with, A. Mm-hmm. And B, like it's nothing to him. Like he's not making the kid relive the murder over and over again.
Of his dad, yeah.
When did you ever hear him behave like that? Who was he ever angry with like that?
I don't know.
God damn. You fuck. Oh, Jesus. Come on, Sylvia.
I can't do this anymore.
God damn. You fuck. Oh, Jesus.
Please.
Sil, help me out.
I don't know.
Goddamn.
God damn, you fuck. Oh, Jesus.
Stop, please. Just stop.
She killed her dad because she walked in on him abusing his son.
Right.
And because she'd been abused, she freaked out.
Right.
And like didn't want, and she like knew what it felt like, how it was, and like all that stuff. And so she like stabbed her dad, and then her mom walked in and she stabbed her mom too because, you know, she was in a rage
Frenzy.
or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not saying that like it's chill to like stab your parents or whatever, but I'm like, that's a totally like, that's not something like, if you've gone through like severe abuse, and it, like the way that they depict her essentially is that she's just like a psychopath and not really a victim.
Right.
They like, she's hypersexualized and she's, you know, and even though
not as much as I would have guessed.
Right, that's true. But they do imply, because she does like confront like Linda Hamilton, and she's like, I know that you think that I'm like trying to like hook up with him. She's like, I'm not. I just feel like he's the only way to help, you know, my brother. And then she tries to hook up with him or whatever. And
Right.
it's like, so it implies that she's like two-faced. It implies that she's like fake for whoever
Abuse
she's around.
victims are the best actors.
Correct. But it's like ignoring the fact that she really is taking care of her brother. Like,
Yeah, no,
she
it's a
is,
similar
like-
thing to fucking which one is it? It's
Final
not.
Analysis?
Is it Final Analysis?
with Richard Gere.
The one, yeah, right, where she has, it's her and her sister?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Uma Thurman and Kim Basinger.
Yeah. I guess I confuse it with,
All the other movies like that we watched.
what's the one with Kidman? Is that just Malice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Just Malice.
Because we watched those, I think, like really close together, and
Yeah.
they have that 90s hair.
But yeah, it's this thing. It's like
Right.
this woman is,
A psychopath.
isn't it wild that she kills, and then it turns out her backstory is that she was abused.
Right. It's like, oh my God, she's a psychopath. She killed her husband who beat her.
Right. I mean, Malice is similar in that,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, right.
you get her
yeah.
backstory through Anne Bancroft, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, they do some awful things because they were treated awfully, but they're still the
Right.
villain.
Right. Right. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, somehow like Alec Baldwin is like forgiven for being like
No, complicit and
horrible monster. And all she did was like give up all her ovaries
right, so she could get
so she could get money.
right,
Okay.
and she
They-
didn't like
She didn't kill anyone.
malpractice money from the doctor who actually did it because he was
Right.
in on it.
Right.
What? Who's hurt by this?
Right.
Bill Pullman.
I know. Oh my God. Wow. And Jigsaw's cousin Rickshaw. A joke. I like how my descriptions on Instagram for the podcast are literally just things to make you laugh, and who knows
Oh,
if you
same.
ever even read them.
Same with the descriptions on Anchor. I write them for you.
Thank you.
There you go. There's
I'll go read them immediately. Anyway, yeah, this movie's terrible.
do not watch it.
Don't watch it. Don't put yourself through it.
There is nothing redeeming about it.
No, there's really
Absolutely
not.
nothing. Not even Lithgow and Hamilton.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, to their credit, they're barely in the movie. So, and Richard Dreyfuss, what is he?
Oh my God. Yeah, we
What
were
is
talking
he?
about this. Like, I think we even had to pause the movie so we could like shit talk Richard Dreyfuss, because like the whole thing, like it's literally like everyone's acting in a movie, and then Richard
that's right.
Dreyfuss is coming in and just mad, and that's all. Every
Yeah.
scene is just like he's pissed that he's got to be in the same room as anyone else. And everyone's like, I'm giving you emotion and I'm acting and I'm saying dialogue. And he's just like, ah! And that's it. And I'm like, what the fucking shit? Like, especially like, and that comes through like, and I think that's one of the reasons why, especially at the beginning when like the kid is having a meltdown, which happens.
Yes.
And especially after your fucking parents are murdered in front of you, it'll probably happen. The fact that he's coming in and yelling, it's like Richard Dreyfuss just is like, his performance is just mad. And I'm like, that's not going to calm anyone the fuck down. Like, no one's going to be
Snap
like,
out of it.
Yeah. Like, what? So confusing to me. Like, and it like,
Well, I remember saying that, like, it felt like in this movie, it reminded me of the way it seems like, this is all perception. I'm not arguing that this is what anybody does, but like, that it reminds me of how Dustin Hoffman gets treated in movies, and even Billy Crystal in fucking Throw Mama.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, you have this person that is the name,
right,
or whatever,
yeah,
and they're given space to act,
right,
as if the interactions with the other actors is not where the acting happens. It's just like, here's the floor,
yeah,
do whatever.
yeah.
No,
Right, yeah. It's like they're in a dance competition and they're like, okay, well, practice by yourself a bunch, and then on the day of, we'll just throw you a partner, and somehow it looks like shit. Like,
yeah. Which is fine. You know, like, I'm not saying it's easy to carry a scene
right.
or be alone on camera, on stage, or whatever, but, like...
Right, I just don't understand why. Like, it's stuff like this that, like...
any of the scenes with him and Linda Hamilton are just so annoying, because you're like, what? Why?
Ooh, but remember how she almost pushes him off the fucking dock? I was like, oh, it didn't happen.
Remember how...
And then they, like, laugh and like, kiss or something. And I was like, okay, that... Okay.
Remember how he chases the kid onto the roof of the house?
Oh my god! And you had like, not that I hadn't wasn't thinking something similar, but like what you said, like, so the kid he takes the kid back to the house that he's been staying in, so I don't know why, and he's like trying to upset him so that the kid will divulge some secret, which is again real great. Anyway, so. The kid freaks out and he runs out of the window onto the roof, and then Richard Dreyfuss is like coming after him, and like, but it's played like magically, like the kid is like about to die or something like that, and Keith's like, obviously if he's doing this, if this is like an emotional response, he's done this before,
right?
So, and, like, so he has a way up there, and he probably has a way down, too, like, I mean, I'm not saying it's great for, like, an 8-year-old to be on the edge of a roof or something, but, like, the way it's played is, like, no one could have foreseen this, and it's like, what, oh, my God.
Well, if the emotional tension of the scene is that, like, oh, the kid's going to slip and fall, sure, okay.
Right. Yeah.
But he's also, and I think they do this, intentionally or not, like, he's clearly more sure-footed than Dreyfuss is doing it, which makes sense if he's done it before.
Correct.
But, so, like, he's standing on the edge of the roof like he's going to jump, maybe.
I know.
And we're like, oh, no, not again. Oh, no, it's not going to happen to Richard Dreyfuss again that someone suicides on his watch.
Right. Like, oh, no.
What a horrible fate for Richard Dreyfuss. Right.
Oh, I hope they don't take his license away this time. Stupid.
Anyway, fuck this movie.
Yep.
Fuck Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, he's fine. I like Jaws all right.
Oh, is he in Jaws?
Yeah.
God.
That's kind of one of his early roles. Close Encounters?
Yeah.
I can't be arsed.
Man, that was like a movie where like I'd never really seen it. I hadn't seen it. And then it played at the theater I worked at.
Yeah.
And so I went there because I was like, oh, I've never seen this movie. So I watched it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 hours of just nothing. Nothing happens for like 3 fucking hours. And then it's like the end of the movie. And like that's when like everything happens. And it's not enough of a payoff.
No.
It is not enough of a payoff. And it.
Yeah.
Oof. I was like, oh, God.
And he's okay, but he's playing another asshole.
I went to work. I went to a place that I had a job at to watch this movie on
when you weren't
Sunday
working.
morning.
Oh.
So I wasted my fucking like Sunday morning to watch that dumb movie and get nothing from
Yeah,
it.
that's
I was
one
just
I've
like, Jesus Christ.
never
Honestly,
gotten
yeah.
anything from it.
Yeah.
Fine. I'm happy to, accept that when it came out, it was a bigger deal. Fine. But, it doesn't need to be canonized,
Right. Oh my God. Right. And I kind of get it. I mean, I think if it wasn't 3 hours long, I'd have
Right.
a lot more patience with it. But it's so fucking long.
Yes.
And there's no reason
nothing
for
happens.
it. Yeah, there's no reason for it. It's just like a lot of like standing around being like, things are happening around us that we're not seeing.
Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some lights in the sky. Here's Richard Dreyfuss driving.
Yeah, I remember I don't remember. I remember nothing about it. Just that I was like, when's stuff
Francois
gonna happen?
Truffaut's in it.
Anyway, boo on this movie. Boo on
Silent
Richard
Fall,
Dreyfuss.
more like
Silent Ball.
That ice flow.
How'd
you like the ice flow?
Oh, come on. How about to mix in child abuse, a legitimate subject, with this trash?
Yeah,
it's just a bad
pretty
film.
much of a complete mess. Coming up.
Gonna take some time, I'm on the mend. I'm here.